Texas A&M fans and college football fans in general are kind of hanging on to that spring game as the one slice of Zach Calzada and Haynes King that they could kind of gather as being a sample of what these skill sets are for each quarterback. So as we head toward August, which is going to be that final run through, we actually don't know what's going through Jimbo Fisher's mind in regards to who necessarily has the upper hand. But how do you see it in regards to the odds of who wins this job and how it's going to play out in August?
Yeah, so I still think the slight edge goes probably to Haynes King, just from everything we've heard. I think if you were to put him as kind of 1A, 1B going into camp, it would be King and then Calzada. But really what it's going to come down to during fall camp is who takes care of the ball better, because that's something I've had a couple conversations with folks this week already, and I think that's just kind of the general consensus of whoever's going to win the job is the guy that makes the least mistakes, not necessarily big plays down the field, or that would certainly be nice, but just who is able to protect the ball, make good decisions. And right now, if you were to go with a guy who maybe makes better decisions, Haynes King would probably be that guy that protects the ball a little better. The ball comes out of Zach Calzada's hands, and that really, really, really well. And that's what's really got him in the race. But his decision-making has to get better. It has to improve a little bit. We talked about the spring game. He threw an interception right before halftime, which is kind of that mistake when you think about Jimbo Fisher. Those are the ones he wants to avoid.
Yeah, and when you look at the situation going into the actual games in September, you obviously want to be sure about the guy that you chose, because you don't want to have a quick trigger, and if he gets into some trouble in a key game early, yank him, and then if the second guy comes in and doesn't get the job done, and then you're in this quandary of, okay, going back and forth, who's the hot hand this week. You want to stay far away from that kind of situation where there's this battle ensuing from week to week and the team doesn't know who the leader is and who the guy's going to be each and every week. So, but it's going to be fascinating.
Yeah, you don't want any guy looking over his shoulder. So, I mean, I think just the expectation is, and one of the things that Jimbo Fisher has said, that when he looks at the quarterback battle, he wants it to become obvious on the practice field. So he's going to let he's in no hurry to make any sort of a decision. He wasn't after the spring game. He's really just going to let it play out and see over the 28, over the month before the season starts, who really grabs hold of the job. And honestly, they play kind of an easier schedule to start. So I don't think it's out of the question that you could see him play both quarterbacks in the first week and see how they manage another game situation, and then make a decision after that once they start getting into, Colorado and going on the road. I think that's when you really want to have it solidified, when you go on the road to Colorado. I know they're coming off kind of an up and down year, but I don't think you want to go on the road still not having figured out who your quarterback's going to be.
Yeah, there's no question that Texas A&M has loads of talent in comparison to Colorado. But again, it's a road game, out of conference, unfamiliar opponent. Mm-hmm. We saw what happened when the offense was off kilter early against Vandy, a team that Texas A&M is so much better than. But it can become kind of tricky when you're tossing out 3 and outs all over the place and you get into a 1-score game, and you don't want to leave it out there for chance of a tipped pass or a blocked punt or something crazy happening with 5 minutes left in the game, and all of a sudden you're in a struggle with a team that you should be blowing out. So this is going to be fascinating. King versus Calzada.